And without further ado, I would like to give the floor to President Osmani. Please, President, the screen is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Minister Hassani, dear organizers, ladies and gentlemen. During 1998-1999, Kosovo was a target of a brutal and a genocidal war committed by the Milosevic regime. Amidst the deafening sounds of artillery and the painful silence of the aftermath of the war, emerged a staggering reality: thousands of survivors of sexual violence in war. It is therefore that today, as I address all of you, I feel great responsibility and carry a heavy burden on my shoulders while striving to do justice to these everyday heroes who live with an everlasting and excruciating pain. And as I fervently plead for such acts of horror to never, ever be repeated again. Conflict-related sexual violence has persisted for too long in the trajectory of human history. It strikes at the very heart of humanity. It transcends borders, and it has turned into one of the most pressing global issues that demand our immediate attention. It is therefore our collective responsibility to act decisively, to act smartly, and to deliver. In my job, but also ever since I engaged in politics, I must admit that the meetings that leave an everlasting impact are the meetings with the survivors of sexual violence in war. Every time I meet with a survivor, I gain a thoroughly different understanding of pain. I also get a chance to understand the transformative power of their resilience. They choose not to just survive, but also to thrive and continuously fight for justice. They work hard to turn their anguish into a driving force to not only rebuild their lives, but also the shattered society after the conflict. Dear participants, none of the words and none of the delivered speeches do justice to the horror and the trauma experienced by the survivors. To understand better what I'm saying, please pay close attention to a following statement by a survivor. This is what she shared with us and what she wanted me to share with you. I quote, "I was trying to hide myself under the chair. I closed my eyes and ears with my hands, just trying not to hear the screamings and yellings of other women. What they did to other women in the school where we have been forcibly pushed. I've never seen such terrible things. At that moment, one guy dragged me by my leg. He threw me into the ground, pulled off forcibly my trousers. I was like being paralyzed. I didn't feel my legs. I had severe bleeding. I was only 9 years old." She was only 9 years old. Horrendous and devastating. Perpetrators of these horrendous crimes know no limits. They stop at nothing. They destroy lives. They not only want to destroy nations or countries, they want to destroy our faith in humanity. They want to dehumanize humans. The pain they inflict upon their victims remains etched into the very fabric of their beings for a lifetime. Yet, it is remarkable how from the ashes of their suffering, an awe-inspiring resilience arises. In these individuals, one finds outstanding strength that defies the darkness that is aimed to consume them. I am always in awe when I witness the unwavering determination of these survivors to refuse to be defined by the past. In their eyes, one sees a fierce resolve, a determination to create a world where their suffering would be drowned out by resilience and hope. These survivors stand as a testament to the unconquerable human spirit, inspiring us all to stand together and work tirelessly to build a future where no one else has to endure ever again such horrors. Ladies and gentlemen, after the war in Kosovo, so many harrowing cases of conflict-related sexual violence came to light. Those helped us with shedding light on the brutal tactics employed by Milosevic's regime. Numerous reports documented widespread rapes and sexual torture. Such appalling acts of sexual violence were used as tools of intimidation and demoralization. but equally so as tools of ethnic cleansing and genocide, aiming to drive the Kosovo population out of their homes. In Kosovo, with every passing year, we witness the extraordinary resilience and determination of Kosovo women and men who refuse to be silenced by the horrors they endured. Their fight against stigma and their quest for justice are exemplary. Being that one of the first ones to come forward to face the public, Ms. Vaspija Krasniqi Goodman, who spoke out publicly in October 2018, she made sure that the world got introduced to a heroine. An emotional but well-determined Vaspija Krasniqi became the first survivor of sexual violence during the war to speak out publicly. By doing so, she put a face to the suffering of horror of over thousands and thousands of survivors. She became the face of their struggle and the symbol of their quest for justice and their unmatched determination to turn sorrow into hope. At only 16 years old, Milosevic's forces ripped her away from the arms of her mother in her very own house to take her to a place where they held her at gunpoint and raped her. And then just hours later, raped her and raped her again. When Vaspija spoke out, she was well aware that it would not be easy. She spoke because she understood the profound importance of her testimony in the quest for justice and the fight against stigma. She dedicated her life to justice and turned into the voice of thousands of survivors of wartime sexual violence in Kosovo. In one of her statements, Vaspija said, "We are victims of the crime. We are not different from anybody else. We still want to rise. We still want to be viewed the same. We still want to be part of the society. We can still contribute in our communities, in our families, and in our country. But we need to be heard. They need to be heard." Hearing the survivors of sexual violence in war is the first step towards restoring justice. Listening to them and their needs is a step further. Working hard to provide remedy, acceptance, and justice must be our everyday mantra. In Kosovo, we tried and we try every day to offer the needed support. Not sure if we always succeed. I am well aware that sometimes it might feel as we are not doing enough, but we will never, ever cease to find ways to ease the weight of burden they carry on their shoulders. As a result of these efforts, the Commission for the Verification and Recognition of Sexual Violence Victim Status in Kosovo came to life. It has emerged as a global example in addressing and acknowledging the suffering of victims of conflict-related sexual violence. Established in 2014, the Commission has been instrumental in providing support to many survivors of such heinous acts during the Kosovo War. And while the job of the Commission is profoundly and utterly important, there is never enough of raised awareness on this issue. There are never too many occasions to speak about it, to committing to addressing it, to stressing the importance of uniting in combating it. And in this spirit, on the initiative of the civil society in Kosovo, we joined forces to set the 14th of April as the Remembrance Day for victims of sexual violence during the war. Thousands of survivors in Kosovo serve as a stark reminder of the deep trauma and suffering that war can inflict on the most vulnerable. And they underscore the importance of justice, reconciliation, and measures to prevent such atrocities in future conflicts. On every 14 April, we come together to pledge over and over again our commitment to succeed in this mission. I want to take a moment to stop at the importance of justice. The lack of justice and punishment for perpetrators engaged in sexual violence during times of conflict has profound and lasting consequences. This makes the pursuit of justice for survivors significantly more challenging. Undoubtedly, the absence of accountability for perpetrators sends a disheartening message that such heinous acts can be committed with impunity. It perpetuates a culture of silence, a sense of hesitation, and a fear that hinders survivors from seeking help and support. And while this obstructs the healing process for individuals, it also disrupts broader reconciliation efforts. The failure to hold perpetrators accountable doesn't only keep the wounds open, but it also undermines trust in post-conflict societies and institutions. And as we gather here today, we also reflect into scenarios on how we can make things better, because it is high time to strengthen the mechanisms to expose acts of conflict-related sexual violence, which underscores the importance of documentation, witness testimonies, and the work of international organizations and international tribunals. It is imperative to ensure that survivors have access to legal aid, healthcare, and psychological care. Our efforts to prevent CRCV, deliver justice, and support survivors must be survivor-centered. The needs, voices, and choices of survivors must be the guiding light for our action. The survivor-led initiatives should serve as an inspiring example. And as we engage in institutional reforms and design of fitting processes, we should never undermine the level of work we must do to eliminate the socio-cultural stigma that hinders rehabilitation efforts. Today, I speak on behalf of Kosovo, but before Kosovo, there was Rwanda, there was Bosnia-Herzegovina. After Kosovo, there is Ukraine. And today we witnessed harrowing images coming from the Middle East. We should always stress the importance of learning from each other, supporting one another, standing up for each other. This will always be our focus in Kosovo as we support women organizations from all of these countries. If we only remain bywatchers, history will revenge against us. We have a chance to speak now, to act now, and to prevent. The fight against sexual violence in conflict transcends the realm of policy and diplomacy. It speaks to the very essence of our humanity. It is a battle we must wage with unwavering determination, as through it, we are defending not only lives, but the very core of our values. The use of sexual violence as a weapon of war is a deliberate attempt to strip individuals of dignity, hope, and their very own identity. And to combat it is to stand firmly against those who seek to exploit the most vulnerable. Kosovo has and will always walk the talk, always. From hosting one of the first major conferences on conflict-related sexual violence with participants from post-conflict countries such as Mali, Guatemala, Colombia, Ukraine, and many others, to putting the prevention of conflict-related violence at the heart of discussions in the next International Women, Peace and Security Forum to be held next year in Pristina, Republic of Kosovo. Our fight is a testament to the values we hold dear: justice, compassion, and equality. Our determination to eradicate this heinous practice is not just a policy imperative. It is a moral duty, a testament to our commitment to a world where the horrors of war can never stain the sanctity of human dignity. Thank you very much for your attention.
I thank President Osmani for her remarks. The work of your country, dear President, that you have done, and your personal commitment to supporting survivors of conflict-related sexual violence by invoking all tools available, including legal, policy, diplomatic, and financial, to break the vicious cycle of impunity and provide the necessary services to survivors is truly remarkable. Now I give the floor